They walked into Hillman College as bright young stars, but in 2026, their lives tell stories far more dramatic than anything on A Different World. Get ready. These stunning then and now revelations will leave you speechless. Lisa Bonet as Denise Huxtable. Lisa Bonet was born on November 16, 1967, in San Francisco, California, and she was just 19 years old when she joined A Different World in 1987 as Denise Huxtable, the stylish, free-spirited daughter whose rebellious charm defined an entire generation of young black women on television. As the series gained momentum, Bonet clashed with Bill Cosby over creative direction and her increasingly bold personal life. The controversy peaked when she posed nude for Interview magazine and became pregnant shortly after marrying musician Lenny Kravitz, choices that ignited tabloid chaos and fueled rumors she was forced off the show. In 2026, Lisa Bonet is 57 years old. Though still admired for her ethereal presence, she lives privately and rarely grants interviews, choosing peace and anonymity over fame. The girl who once lit up America now chooses silence, a soft rebellion of her own. Jasmine Guy as Whitley Gilbert. Jasmine Guy was born on March 10, 1962, in Boston, Massachusetts, and she was 25 years old when she first appeared as Whitley Gilbert in 1987. As the pampered, sharp-tongued Southern belle who evolved into a symbol of black female empowerment, she became one of the most unforgettable characters of A Different World. Guy faced mounting debt, came close to financial ruin, and lost roles she had once been considered perfect for. Stress took a visible toll on her health, and by the 2000s, she appeared only sporadically, trying to rebuild her footing through voice work, small TV roles, and community theater. Now, in 2026, Jasmine Guy is 63 years old. Though noticeably thinner and more fragile than her Whitley days, she carries a fierce elegance shaped by survival. Kadeem Hardison as Dwayne Wayne. Kadeem Hardison, born on July 24, 1965, in Brooklyn, New York, and he was 22 years old when he debuted as Dwayne Wayne in 1987. With his iconic flip-up glasses, brilliant mind, and effortless charm, he quickly became the heart of A Different World and one of the most beloved young black male characters of the era. By the 2000s, financial strain and long stretches without work deeply affected him. Though he returned in small TV parts and indie films, the industry that once embraced him no longer had room for his quiet, thoughtful presence. In 2026, Kadeem Hardison is 59 years old, living a modest, grounded life, focusing on directing, mentoring young talent, and choosing peace over fame. Daryl M. Bell as Ron Johnson. Born on May 10, 1963 in Chicago, Illinois, and Daryl M. Bell was 24 years old when he joined A Different World in 1987 as Ron Johnson, the smooth-talking ladies' man whose humor and charm brought warmth to Hillman College. As the industry evolved through the 2000s, Bell faced mounting financial pressure. Debt accumulated, and at one point he came dangerously close to bankruptcy. He stepped back from mainstream acting, relying on small gigs, voiceover work, and behind-the-scenes collaborations to stay afloat. Through it all, his long-term relationship with fellow actress Tempest Bledsoe became his anchor, even as both navigated their own career frustrations. Today, Daryl M. Bell is 61 years old. He lives a low-profile life, appearing at select fan events and supporting small creative projects, a modest but steady reemergence built on survival rather than fame. Sinbad as Coach Oakes. Sinbad, whose real name is David Adkins, was born on November 10, 1956, in Benton Harbor, Michigan, and he was 31 years old when he appeared on A Different World as Coach Walter Oakes in 1987. With his booming voice, larger-than-life personality, and effortless comedic rhythm, he became a vital burst of energy on the series. By the late 2000s, just as he was attempting a comeback through stand-up tours and TV appearances, tragedy struck. In 2020, Sinbad suffered a severe ischemic stroke that left him partially paralyzed and struggling to speak and walk. The stroke triggered a long, grueling rehabilitation process filled with surgeries, painful setbacks, and months of relearning the most basic movements. By 2026, Sinbad is 68 years old. He continues therapy and makes rare virtual appearances, reminding the world that his greatest story was never comedy. It was survival. Cree Summer, as Freddie Brooks. Cree Summer, born on July 7, 1969 in Los Angeles, California, and she was 18 years old when she joined A Different World in 1988 as Freddie Brooks. With her wild curls, activist spirit, and free-thinking energy, Freddie became a cultural emblem, the bohemian soul of Hillman College. Through the 2010s, her workload intensified, but so did her personal struggles. She spoke openly about stress, creative frustration, and moments when she felt her voice, once her greatest strength, was slipping away due to overuse. Projects like Kippo and The Age of Wonderbeasts briefly reignited her artistic spark, yet the emotional cost of balancing motherhood, self-doubt, and the demands of performance never fully disappeared. Now, in 2026, Cree Summer is 55 years old. She continues to work in voice acting and music while living a life shaped by independence, creativity, and battle-earned resilience. Dawnn Lewis as Jaleesa Vinson. Dawnn Lewis was born on August 13, 1961 in Brooklyn, New York, and she was 26 years old when she stepped into the role of Jaleesa Vinson in 1987. As the smart, grounded older student who brought maturity and strength to Hillman College, she quickly became one of the emotional anchors of A Different World. Through the 1990s and 2000s, Lewis faced long stretches of uncertainty. Casting directors often labeled her too mature for young roles and too youthful for middle-aged characters, trapping her in an awkward limbo that caused deep frustration and self-doubt. She spent years fighting to sustain her income through guest appearances, teaching, and voice acting, while quietly navigating stress-related health issues. Her determination never faded, but the emotional toll of constantly proving her worth weighed heavily on her confidence. In 2026, Dawnn Lewis is 63 years old, still active but far more selective, devoting her time to philanthropy, music, and occasional TV roles. Her voice remains rich and steady, a reminder of the strength she has carried through every setback. Though no longer the steady Jaleesa of Hillman, she stands today as a survivor who found purpose beyond the spotlight. Charnele Brown as Kimberly Reese. Charnele Brown was born on October 30, 1965, in East Hampton, New York, and she was 22 years old when she joined A Different World in 1988 as Kimberly Reese. As the disciplined, ambitious pre-med student, Brown brought a grounded intensity to the cast. By the late 1990s and early 2000s, mounting pressure took its toll. Losing roles because of her health left lasting emotional scars, and the stress only deepened her physical struggles. As mainstream Hollywood opportunities faded, she shifted toward teaching and coaching young actors, a meaningful new path. By 2026, Charnele Brown is 59 years old. She continues teaching, mentoring, and occasionally appearing at reunions, embodying the strength of someone who learned to heal not just others, but herself. Glynn Turman as Colonel Taylor. Glynn Turman was born on January 31, 1947, in New York City, and he was 40 years old when he joined A Different World in 1987 as Colonel Bradford Taylor. He took smaller roles and turned increasingly to theater and community work, choosing substance over fame. Even as he remained respected, the strain of decades in the industry, long hours, constant reinvention, and the emotional scars of family tragedy took a visible toll on his health and energy. Today, Glynn Turman is 78 years old. Working only occasionally, he spends most of his time with family and philanthropic projects. Lou Meyers as Vernon Gaines. Lou Meyers was born on September 26, 1935, in Cabin Creek, West Virginia, and he was 52 years old when he first appeared on A Different World in 1987 as Vernon Gaines, the gruff, hilarious, big-hearted owner of the pit. By the late 2000s, Myers's condition worsened. Respiratory trouble and recurring infections made travel and long shoots difficult, and the man once known for his booming voice and sharp comedic timing grew noticeably frailer. Despite this, he continued performing as long as he could, sometimes showing up to rehearsals even when breathing was a struggle. Lou Meyers passed away on February 19, 2013, at the age of 77, due to complications from pneumonia. Nearly 4 decades later, A Different World still inspires, but the real journeys of its cast are far more dramatic, painful, and powerful than anything ever written for Hillman College. Time has changed their faces, yet their struggles, losses, and reinventions reveal a truth deeper than nostalgia. Which transformation moved you the most? Tell us below, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more untold Hollywood stories.